Hey there, everybody, and welcome back to Utility Sports. And today we're going to be doing another team mock draft here on the channel. We have done so many of these already, so if you guys haven't checked those out, they will be on our channel. Make sure to go check them out. We have a whole variety of teams. And today we're diving into the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the first time on the channel we've taken a single look at them alone, really looking at a 3 or 4 round mock draft here. I'll probably do a 4-round mock for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have quite a few obvious needs, wide receiver being one of them. But there's also a few other positions that they need to look to address. And I think it's actually a really good time to be doing a Philadelphia Eagles mock draft here because of the news about Carson Wentz. They are taking some offers for him. They're getting called. So we'll kind of see here what we could look at. Lawrence obviously goes first overall. They have the Jets going Chase. Devontae Smith goes off the board. And now Jalen Waddle actually goes 5. Okay, so now this is maybe the weirdest situation we could be in for the Philadelphia Eagles. I was planning on grabbing one of these 3 wide receivers. Now at this point, this kind of makes it a little weird for me, to be honest, because Penei Sewell's still here. He is the best offensive lineman in the class. I would have a hard time not taking him. However, I don't see that really being realistic. I think that he's going to go to Cincinnati at pick 5. And I would probably have grabbed Jalen Waddle at 6 had that happened the way it should have. I'm going to operate like Penei Sewell is not on the board. I do not think he will be here at 6. I am almost certain that the Cincinnati Bengals will grab him at 5 if they have the option to do so. We had seen even Kwity Paye go. So now I guess you could look at a QB. Jalen Hurts was the 2nd-round pick last year. They obviously spent the 2nd overall pick on Carson Wentz a few years back. So I just don't really think QB is really in the fold here for Philadelphia. And this is going to be a little bit different from what we've looked at, but I'm thinking Kyle Pitts right now is the guy I would take if I'm Philadelphia with Penei Sewell being off the board. I know he's there right now, but I don't think that'll be really what's going to happen. I also think offensive tackle is not as big of a need this offseason. I think that they could maybe roll it back one more year and wait to grab an offensive tackle. Sewell is so good that it's hard to not take him, but I just don't really find that realistic. That's one thing I try to look for in these mock drafts is I'm mocking what I think could happen and then also a mix of what I would do given the situations. What I would fully do is draft Penei Sewell, but I just find that to be not realistic at all, to be completely honest, with where they're at, what they need for that roster. I'm going to mock Kyle Pitts actually out of Florida. And I know you guys might say, well, they don't need a tight end. They've got some guys in place. You know, Zach Ertz isn't going to be back. I think that Kyle Pitts isn't even necessarily a true tight end either. I think he can play actually out wide a little bit, play in the slots as a receiver. He is so versatile that he's going to come in. He's going to be basically a wide receiver there. They have everything that they're going to need in that situation if you are Philadelphia. And ultimately, I think they got to be pretty happy with that because of his talent. I think he's one of the more talented players in the class. Sewell fell to 13 actually, which is quite bizarre. I don't know what is going on with that situation. I don't know why he is falling like he is. We are seeing the mock draft go here. Najee Harris actually goes pick 16. It is having a little bit of issues. I'm not sure. I think everything else is fine though. Travis Etienne actually goes pick 18. But, you know, they have Dallas Goedert at tight end. I'm fully aware of that. And, you know, that might factor into the decision-making. But with the top 3 wide receivers off the board, you know, maybe trade down is the situation. Justin Fields falls to 21. What is going on in this mock draft? The Jets grab Trey Lance at 23. That's interesting as well. Sometimes this is a little hard, too, because we see this happen. Rashawn Slater fell all the way to 24. That will not happen on draft night either. I feel very, very confident that that will not happen. But anyway, sticking to Philadelphia here. It's about giving your QB weapons, someone who can be a target for them, someone who's going to catch a lot of balls, and I think Kyle Pitts is going to do that. Sure, he's not the run-blocking tight end that everyone, you know, loved when T.J. Hawkinson came out, but he's a better receiving threat. Looking at the 2 or even 3 best tight ends in the league right now, that's Travis Kelce, George Kittle, and Darren Waller. And all 3 of those guys are elite pass catchers, guys who can make things happen after the catch. And that's a really big deal here in the NFL. To me, I think that's going to be a very solid pick for the Eagles, something we haven't seen yet on the channel either. And now, looking at this situation here at pick 38, they need to address cornerback. I fully believe that. Darius Slay is in there. Nickel Roby Coleman is their number 2 guy, though. They could really look to improve in that situation. Wide receiver still is an option. Had Kadarius Toney fall into me, I would be running that pickup. With where we're kind of looking yet now at this point, I probably wouldn't go in that direction, to be honest. Let's look at the cornerbacks. Aaron Robinson out of UCF is a guy that some people really like. And I actually would consider him strongly here as well at this spot. Let's go look at the linebacker room as well. This is another spot where they could really look to improve. And I think they should be aggressive on draft night. Right now, they're starting TJ Edwards at that middle linebacker spot. They're going to have to figure that out. But for me, if I'm Philadelphia, I'm going to be aggressive moving this pick up to maybe, right here into the back end of this first round, grab another guy, maybe like a Zayvon Collins or Nick Bolton if he falls, because I really feel like I need to improve in that area. However, right now with what we're seeing, that's not really an option. I don't like the wide receiver, so I am actually going to go Aaron Robinson out of UCF. I think that he is the best bet for the Eagles here at pick 38. I know they have his rank at 49. I just don't really buy into that. I think he's better than that. I think it's very possible we could see him go in the first round, actually. He does go here to us at 48, and I really like that. I also did consider Trayvon Merrick. Merrick is the best safety in the class. That is also a positional need for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I felt like it was more pressing to grab that corner at that spot. And I think that Aaron Robinson is a really good one at that I would feel comfortable grabbing at pick 38. So now Jay Tufele actually fell to pick 63. Had he been here at pick 70, that would have been my selection. And now maybe I look at grabbing a tackle. Javon Holland is actually fallen here, though, too. I really like Javon Holland a lot. I'm going to go check out the tackle spot, maybe see if there's a guy I like that I could develop. Jackson Carman's an interesting one, obviously protected. Trevor Lawrence for the past few years. However, I just don't think I'm going to grab him here at 70. Let's look at that safety position real quick, too. I like Javon Holland, but then there's also Andre Sisco and Paris Ford, 2 other guys that I think are legitimate NFL safeties that I would maybe be comfortable with waiting around for. See if the running back situation, Kenneth Gainwell's here. I don't think that's as pressing of a need. He would help as a pass catcher, though, quite a bit. That's an interesting one to me, actually, Kenneth Gainwell is. I know that they've got a really good running back in Miles Sanders. I know you guys probably like Boston Scott, but I think Kenneth Gainwell's an improvement over Boston Scott for sure. I think with how the board is played, though, I have to go Javon Holland out of Oregon. He is the best player on the board yet at this point, I think, and it's at a positional need at safety. I feel very confident in that. Grabbing him, I've really improved the defensive back situation here in Philadelphia. That is a big need for the Eagles. You have to grab a safety. Right now they're starting Kayvon Wallace and Marcus Epps. And the cornerbacks I mentioned earlier in Darius Slay, who's getting a little bit older, and also Nickel Roby Coleman, both 2 positional places that they need to upgrade quite a bit. Now here into the back end of the 3rd round, we're still moving forward here. These are some of the comp picks, I am pretty sure. And into round 4 now we go. And interesting enough here, I don't know, do the Eagles have their 4th round pick? I guess I was not aware of if they did or not. I did not check that prior to making this video. So if they do not, we could look at some guys maybe in round 5 that I would be interested in grabbing here at this point. See, did they not have their – they did have their 3rd, obviously, with pick 70. So there's the picks so far. I feel very good about who we were able to grab so far in this draft. And I think Chuba Hubbard's still here. That's not a bad option. Let's see. Okay, we're still going through round 4 here. Is Shi Smith. I really like Shi Smith a lot out of South Carolina. I think that this is maybe a spot that they could look to go in round 4 or 5. It does not look like they have another 4th round pick, actually. So in round 5, that's somewhere I would really look if I'm them. I'd also maybe look at Shaka Toney out of Penn State. I know that their edge position is really strong with Fletcher Cox and Derek Barnett, but they're going to have to find another guy into that rotation at some point. That's the direction I would probably look if I was running the Philadelphia Eagles. But here, let's take a look at our user picks here. We grab Kyle Pitts at 6. the board played out so weird. Okay, I want to preface that once again. I really like Penei Sewell. I don't think he goes past 5. That's why I opted to not take him for realistic sake. Jalen Waddle would have been my pick had he been available. He was not, though. He went off the board at 5 to Cincy. So I think that with that playing out the way it did with the top 3 wideouts being off the board, I would opt for Kyle Pitts. He is one of the best pass catchers in the NFL draft, could end up being the most dynamic at the position at tight end in the NFL. He has that type of talent as a vertical threat. Aaron Robinson, UCF corner, I really like him. He's going to give you a legitimate number 2 corner right now while Darius Slay is still performing for you guys. And then once Darius Slay moves on from the Eagles, he could ascend into that number 1 cornerback position role on the team. I really like Aaron Robinson. I think he's a great fit in Philadelphia. And Javon Holland out of Oregon, they need to address that safety position. I think this is a really good way to use the first 3 rounds to really improve the Philadelphia Eagles in a lot of different ways. You get that pass catcher you need. I also really did consider Kenneth Gainwell here at pick 70. I think that is a real option as well. Just knowing what kind of pass catching back he is, he could go a long way in helping either Carson Wentz get back on track or developing Jalen Hurts, whoever that's going to be behind the center for the Philadelphia Eagles. It's going to be about helping that player perform to the best of his ability, whether it's Hurts or Wentz. That's yet to be seen. But I think this is a good way for the Eagles to get back on track here. You get a pass catcher in the first round. You get 2 defensive backs in rounds 2 and 3. You're looking at a much more well-rounded out team. Now, I know historically they have a history of going to that defensive line to draft, that offensive line to draft. That was hard to pass on Penei Sewell, and I only did it because of how I felt the real board was going to play out. I did not find it realistic that he would go 6 to the Philadelphia Eagles. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. This was a fun one to make. I really love making these team mock drafts for you guys. So make sure you smash that like button if you did enjoy it, and we'll catch you in the next mock draft.